Hey, happy Wednesday afternoon, everybody. It is I, Nathan Bonner, the creator and sole animator of Indavo 3.0. Currently working on episode 3 today. Yay! Well, roughly halfway through it, honestly. Okay, so I'm also the artist of the interiors of the Big Muddy Monster comic, The True Life Tales of Murfreesboro, Illinois' very own cryptid, a Bigfoot-ish creature. And we're talking about doing a third issue that would not probably be grounded too much in reality. More of a Marvel monster mashup. Mayhem! We'll see what happens. Anyhow, today we are working on episode 3, shot 138. Yes, it has been that long. Roughly, let me check the premiere file. I'm at 11 minutes and 34 seconds in one frame. Ooh, wow. Fascinating. Okay, meanwhile. One second here, I gotta do some housekeeping behind the scenes. Alright, make sure that is a-okay. That seems to be okay there. Okay, alright, sorry. Not very pertinent. That was, but needed to be done for my own peace of mind. Alright, so here we go. We're going to go into... Wow, look at all this. Whew. It's been very busy here lately, as you can imagine. Again, hats off to all ye animators out there doing your own animated series that are 22 minutes long, frame by frame. You are truly spectacular and possibly psychopathic, but still, hats off. I would never get this done. No, that's probably why I'm doing the tweening stuff, is expedience and workability in order to a project this large, this complicated. Would be a heck of an animator frame by frame if I did it all frame by frame. However, much to do and little time to do it in, so that's why we're doing this. So I'm gonna shade this right here. Boom. Okay. Having hit the save button several times, we are now ready. Okay, so we're going to go down to our timeline, and what we're going to do is we're going to see what we've got here. Okay, we got some GT, and he's going to be speaking. So we're going to go to frame 48 in the timeline, and we're going to file, and we're going to go to import, and we're going to import. Well, actually, yes, the audio file, which happens to be right there. Shot 138_GT. That's his lines right there. And there's not much of them. You can scrub the timeline and it sounds like...
Let me do the talking. I'm the pro here.
Wow. That's a robot talking if ever I heard one. Okay, so we're going to establish that the scene is going to be 6 seconds long. So we're going to go back to frame 0. All right, now let's get the actual visual elements into place. Okay, so let's start out with that. We're going to import an image. We're going to put in the background file here. Excuse me, I was just double checking. Oh, I see it's from the other angle. Gotcha. All right. Yes, that's the right one. All right. And now we're going to place in our caricatures. Very roughly checking the storyboards, if you're wondering what I'm doing. When I'm pausing, I'm turning my head to check the storyboards. That's very important, by the way. In your storyboards, you should have established some sense of continuity, and if things are off, hopefully you'll be able to detect that. So my storyboards are done in pen that you can buy at the Mart of the Walls. Nice kind of touted as like manga-esque pens. There's a hard tip and a soft tip. Anyway, I tend to do them in a book. It is called the Blank Storyboard book, and it is 8.5 by 11 book, and has 200 plus pages, and has approximately 9 storyboards on each page with lines underneath for various annotations, scene and shot numbers. All very helpful. And available on Amazon. Wow, who'd have thunk that? Anyway, enough for me shilling for some other product. And we're going to go to GT. We're going to put GT shaded in GT. We're going to import him in. And first thing we're going to do after we get him in here, before we do anything else, is he's going to have to be facing toward my right, or screen right, or right, whatever. So we need to flip him horizontally. Okay, so what is this? Okay, well, the body turn, as you see, does have a 365 degree. Ooh, wrong one. Manipulate bones. Has 180 degree turn. I was lazy and didn't do the other 180 degrees from back to front again. So, yeah, there we go. So that's what I did. So we just flipped the characters using the layer modification panel. And then he can turn to the other direction. So we need to first, before we do anything, kind of get him roughly into position. We're going to bring him up a little bit more here. I'm holding down the Alt key, and this moves him in the Z space. That's the toward the screen and away from the screen space. So we're going to make sure that he is about the right size he needs to be, right about there. Okay, good. We're going to go ahead and go to frame 1 with him, and we're going to go ahead and, whoa, we can't see that. Use the hand tool to grab the artboard and drag everything over. Back to the bone tool there. Make sure we're on frame 1. Go to manipulate bones. That's what they call that, right? Manipulate bones, or hit the Z key, apparently, which I never do. Anyway, okay, well, we're going to have GT here, and he's going to be speaking. He's going to have lip sync. You really can't see his lips because his chest units are in the way. Whatever. Torso units, whatever. Anyway, so, but it's good to go ahead and have this done. So we're just going to go ahead down here to the rig mouth, and okay, let's talk layer settings. Okay, so this I have double clicked on. This is layer settings for the rig mouth. Okay, so this is a regular mouth. So this is his when he's regularly talking. No kind of emotional expressions on this because he's a robot. He does this a lot. So we're gonna hit switch. Okay, and we're gonna go to the audio source. We're gonna find our WAV file. If there's multiple ones, you find the one appropriate here. You click that, and you can interpolate these if you have the same number of points in each layer. I'm not sure I do, so we're not going to do that. And then we're going to move this back so I can click the OK button, apparently. And pow. Okay, so what we will notice when we go to the timeline is that all these blocks are here. These are, and you can see his mouth moving just a little bit. So,
Do the talking. I'm the pro here.
okay, so let's talk the mouth again. Okay, so I opted not to go with a phonetic mouth movements, which is very Western. I decided to adopt the anime-esque lip flapping. Not only is that great for localization when Indavo gets translated into Swedish, but it is amazingly well for not having to use Papagayo or the lip sequence programming software that comes. That, of course, Boss Mobile makes as well. That is all very well and good, but I prefer the lip flapping thing just for it looks pretty good, and it's somewhat expedient. So if you're doing another, maybe a shorter project, or there's a team of you and doing phonetic ones, if you're doing something more Western, I'd get. But this was just a stylistic choice. That's all I'm trying to say here. Anyway, so we're going to go back to reset view, and we're going to go to here. Okay, so we have other characters that are going to be in this scene. Okay, actually we have quite a few other characters that are going to be in this scene. Let's go ahead and import them and get them into at least the ones that are primarily going to be moving. So Moho object, back up to our characters folder, and we're going to find that Rachel is next on the list. Base 4, base 5, right there. Yeah. Okay. There we go. That took a while to come up. Import by reference, just in case we have to make any further changes. Let's go ahead and activate her jacket. She is popped in behind GT for whatever reason that be. It's very strange. Okay, so we're going to kind of, we can move her forward a bit. Oh, she's actually inside guarantee. Because I put her in the head, did I not? I put her in the mouth. Yes, I did. Okay. Well, let's delete that out because that's stupid. Okay. Well, we don't want to do that. So. Yeah. All right. Next up. So let's try that again, shall we? All right. It's very important not to be inside your character's layer structure when you're trying to put another character, or else you'll get something completely funky, which is just what happened. Okay, so jacket activated. Alright. Alright, there no lines there, so she's going to move up to right about here, and she's going to be right about, let's say, here. See where he's at. She's standing a little bit forward, right about there. Let's check their height differentials. Ooh, not quite. Okay, so she's going to be the proper height there. Sure, that will help out quite a bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, put her right about here. And also, we're going to double click on her layer, and we're going to do the same thing. The flip horizontal checkbox will be checked. Okay, so on the human characters, they have parts in their hair, and they're instead of having like hair that doesn't do that, which would be easier to have designed. I elected not to do that. So in order to fake the 365 degree thing, I have a switch layer for the hair, which flops it over the other way and makes it everything appear on the right side. I could have done a Pinley-esque solution like Doc 2 and the Ice Wars when the boys are curious animated that, and quite well, I might add. They didn't really bother to make the mirror sided bits for their dudes, so they just kind of like said, yeah, here we go, this is it, this is what you're getting. All right. So you know, when you're under time constraints and everything, I think this for a little bit we're just going to fudge her size just a scoosh there. You won't be able to see really. Okay, so in order to make these arms look a little bit on the righter side of things, we're going to move them back a little bit. Okay, now we need to go to the side to side. I'm right about, oops, there. All right. Okay, and now let's kind of get her into her starting pose. Guaranteed starting pose was kind of pre-built in. Grab the jagged bone, that's always good. Have her move back a little bit. Move up to here, and we'll have a fur around just a bit. There we go. Okay, there. That's her starting position. All right, let's go back to frame 0. All right, let's go reset this. Click on the magnifying glass, and we are going to reset the view. Wow, again, pulse pounding. Okay, let's import our next character, the titular character, as I say, Indavo. Let's bring him in. Bam. His jacket's already turned on because I'm not a complete moron sometimes. Well, you know, as soon as I turned on her jacket, we'd be, you know, not eating it on anymore. He's going to be a little bit in the foreground compared to her. So put him in the starting position, and we're going to double click on his layer, bone layer, bring up the layer controls, hit the flip, and we're also going to go down to his hair here, and we're going to flip that over so his hair parts to the correct side. Aha. And of course I changed her layer size once we'd gotten the Z layer. I should point out works really well when you're doing camera parallaxing. If you're going to use your cameras, you can get some really nice. Let's just take a look. You get some really nice parallaxing going on if you've got your Z layers set right. But we're not this time. But that's why it is a handy tool. So let's move Indavo in. All right, so let's say that maybe he is just a bit too close. There we go, right about there. Okay, now we're going to move him into his starting position as well. Grab that jacket one. By accident again. Okay, let's get in a little bit closer here so we can kind of make some sense out of this nonsense. That is my facial control GUI, or graphic user interface. You can actually make these buttons, and it's usually a lot better, but I did not just use bones because time, I suppose. Anyway, so that's what we got. Okay, so, well, before we do anything else, let's talk a crowd. So they're in an auditorium. The performance has just ended. There are still milling about some alien crowds. Ah, there's an alien crowd right there. We're going to go to the calm crowd. I think that's all we need right now. We're going to do all the rows. Yeah, let's do all the rows. Want these guys by reference. They do not come in green, by the way. They all come in all shaded black. Okay, there we go. That's wonderful. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these guys and we're just going to... we should actually not do that way. Let's go back down here. All right, we're going to grab all of these rows and we're just going to put them kind of in the background right about here. Maybe expand that out just a skosh. Kind of get them to fill out the rest of the auditorium. They're just kind of in the background. Or else guessing they're just yammering about how awesome the show was. Yada, yada, yada. All right, now we need our last character that will be animated in this shot. You could say scene, but it's actually a shot. Okay, so Moho object, back out to characters. Okay, so now we're going to go to the dreaded Smarthbots. Robots of the underworld leader, Smarth. Some design issues. Not only do they have their little repulsor things going on there, but they're flat on top, because originally in the first draft of the script, or when I was thinking about how the events were going to play out, is that the Smarthbots were going to be delivering the parts that our heroes are attempting to get on top. That's why they're flat, because the cargo containers would be on top. However, as you'll see later, much later, the parts are now in larger containers that are just lying on the ground of a warehouse, so they're not being hauled by Smarthbots at all. But they stayed flat, because I thought it looked cool. So, there we go. How much of your choices were made because you thought things were cool? Well, I'd say a good 87%. Okay. So Smarthbots are rather somewhat large. Let's bring him out to here first. Okay. Right about here. Okay. He's going to come onto screen because I've been approaching our heroes through the crowd. Let's get down to here. All right. So he is going to be fairly large. We're much closer on the sizing there. So, okay, let's go ahead and size him up here as appropriately. He needs to be large, McHuge. Large McHuge. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to drag his layer off to here. Okay, and that's where he's going to begin. But not in this pose. No. So we're going to go to the Manipulate Bones tool, and we're going to change this body turn here. Now, as you can see, when his body turn happened, we have several things that happen. One, you can just kind of manipulate. No, it's not gonna work out. Gonna do this one at a time here. I'm gonna move these down. There we go. There we go. There we go. A slightly threatening one. Okay, so now we're gonna move this guy around right about here. Now, okay, some funky things happen there, and we're going to undo those funky things that happened. All right, so And the claws can open too. That's kind of... Oh, manipulators. Sorry. No offense. Okay, so everyone's going to stay like that. All right. And then he's going to stay like this. I'm going to hit copy because I need to put the... Oh, they should be able to be here. Okay, good. All right. So he's going to freeze to right there. Oh, no, let's bring that back. Guarantee's talking about let him... He's the pro. And as he says, he's the pro. Our Smartbot is going to hover. Let's bring that up so that there'll be... Let's fetch this a bit. Just bring this guy up. There we go. Ooh, like that. All right, thank you, Guarantee, for croaking into there. Okay. So let's go to character animation. We're going to put in some reactions with our heroes. Guarantee will speak here. We'll go to here. Okay, so when he starts speaking, he's probably going to start moving. Let him come forward a bit. Okay, we'll put that here. Oh, I'm just making some points here. I'd like to get a little bit head bobbing action going. Comes in screen. Okay. Let's let Indavo, Rachel, and maybe have them. Okay, let's go to Rachel, and we're going to have them kind of maybe do like a slight bit of a back. Nope, doing things from too far up. Let's get in closer. Moho will invariably grab the wrong bone. It probably has something to do with the person who created those in the first place. Invariably will grab the wrong bone. Let's time that down a little bit here. Okay, let's do the same for Indavo, more or less. And there are some transparency issues on the preview of his sleeves. I am aware of that, but it does turn out okay. So whenever we go to render, it's going to be fine. Okay, there we go. So, all right, so that is animation of the scene. So let's reset this view. And as we've hit save, let's let that get caught up. Let's reset that view. Okay, so let's go back to frame 0 and let's hit the play button, see what happens.
Let me do the talking. I'm the pro here.
What comes up?
Let me do the talking. I'm the pro here.
Okay. That looks pretty good. So, okay, so now we're going to render this out. Now, I could render this out, of course, as just a video right straight there. But there's compositing stuff that I do, as I've done before, in After Effects before it is put in together in Premiere. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the background down, GT, Rachel, and Indavo, and the SmartBot, and just leave our aliens in the background. Okay, these aliens, we're just going to preview. And what that does, it just generates one frame at this frame 52. They don't move. Okay, so they're just going to be a PNG. So what has happened is they've rendered out. I'm doing a save as, which you cannot see. And in the very same file folder, we're going to put in there as the shot 138 alien crowd. Aliens with horns. There are some blob aliens, some very round egg-shaped aliens, and some very short aliens with huge heads. Possibly Grace. We don't know. Anyway, so we're going to put them there. Okay, now we're going to put in Guarantee. And his is an export animation. This is going to unfortunately take some time. Yes. So I'm going to go into choose the folder, and we're going to make a new folder because there's not one yet called renders. And we're going to put that right there. Select that folder. We're going to go into his file name. We're going to put an underscore GT for guarantee on that. And we're going to hit renders. Okay, so the reason why he's a very complicated figure. Lots of shapes. But also what it is, it's the point shading. So he has a base color in each of his shapes. How you get the gradient highlights is you select a point and then you assign a color to that point, white or a darker color, to create the various gradients. And this does run up your render time. He's still rendering. So, all right, while he is still rendering, we're going to go ahead and click on Rachel. Click him off, click on Rachel. And we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Export Animation. You can do multiple renders at the same time. It's going to slow down your ability to... Well, that's not what I wanted to happen. Oh. Okay, well, we're going to have to restart that render again. Apologies! I'm sure that caused problems. Okay, so we're going to... and what we're going to do is we're going to export animation. Okay. Must have hit the previous setting one by accident. We're going to underscore R. R stands for Rachel, of course. And yeah, we'll go ahead and click render. And I'm afraid that I'm going to have to re-render out the first 24 frames at least of Guarantee again, because I think she's going to pop in. Now, Rachel's render is already halfway done, whereas Guarantee's render is 3/4 the way done, and she will probably end up passing him and finishing first. She's shorter, you know, and he's big, tall, heavy robot, so you don't expect that to only be natural. And she's done, and Guarantee is about 99% the way there, finishing up right now. Okay, let's take a quick peek at those render frames, which you can't see, so I am apologizing for that right now. Let's go here into my amazing fire architecture and go into no, to Shiva, that's why. My amazing file architecture into my work drive. Supposed to be in the right drive. Ha ha ha. And oh yeah. So I'd say a good 30 frames of Guaranteed to be rendered. So we will And there was, oh, well, actually, let's go ahead and get Indavo out of the way first. All right, so let's go to export this animation. And we're going to go into the render folder there, and we're going to go underscore I in the file name. And while that is rendering out, all right, that took a while. Mysteriously, we're going to go to frame 1 of, let's say, 30. Okay, and back on to guarantee. Okay, so now we're going to go to export this animation. We're going to do image sequence, and we're going to overwrite existing files. Very crucial that that happen. So we need to replace those files that were replaced with Rachel. Okay, and we're going to click OK, and that should be fine. All right, that's done. Okay, while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the After Effects. And we will see right here. Pow. Okay, we have the previous shot 137 scene. And in the scene, the Smartbot comes down the stairs and is approaching our heroes. And it says, here we go. We're through the crowd. See? Egg-shaped alien. Blob alien with tentacle thingies. Okay, so now we're going to start a new file folder in the project. 138 is what we're going to do. And we're going to start assembling the shot in the new composition, which we know is 6 seconds long. Extraordinary. Last one was 6 seconds long, so that's why this one is showing up 6 seconds long automatically. It's not. It didn't read my mind. It's not that smart yet. Okay, so we're going to go into the proper shot folder. Okay, so we're going to, let's grab a few things right here. I'm just going to grab these guys, 3 guys right here. Okay, so we've got the crowd, got the background. Let's get the background in place. Okay, let's grab the alien crowd and get them into place. And let's get this into place. And he starts talking about halfway through. I could boom that up, I suppose, so that he's talking as it's coming to halt. Oh, that's fine. All right, let's grab a few things we need. One thing we need is this white solid number 5 from 137. Now, what is this? This is a an overlay of the light color set to on blending mode. I think it's overlay or screen, one of those two. And this gives us a little bit of oomph. Also needing a little bit of oomph is our crowd. We're going to go down to our crowd and make sure that we got a crowd that's not a shadow crowd. Layer styles, we're going to grab that inner shadow. We're going to hit copy. Pow. We're going to go into our layer here for the crowd. And bam. All right. Makes it look like they're standing under the lights without giving them too much detail. They don't need a lot of detail in the scene, so we're just gonna roll with it. All right, let's grab our PNG sequences. Okay, so let's go into renders, and this could be a problem. All right, let's see if this is gonna be a problem. Okay, good. All right. Okay. When the Rachel files rendered, what happened was it went ahead and versioned it up. So it did an _1 before the 001 for the first frame, which ended up being a-okay, so I didn't have to re-render him at all. But it's probably good to go have that for peace of mind. Putting him in front of the crowd here. Okay. There is a little bit more blendering magic, compositing magic that we're going to do here. We'll go up to this very sleeve of Indavo here, and we're going to go back down to our layer styles. We have an inner shadow and a gradient overlay. Instead of recreating the wheel, we're just going to copy and paste those guys from down here. Pow. And he's a little bit more composited in the scene. Looks like he's actually kind of there. Kind of works. So anyway. All right, let's bring in our next character, which will be Rachel. Okay, so we have to interpret the footage by going to main from 30 frames to 24 frames a second. Well, it's going to be the sequence would be a lot shorter than the scene it needs to be in the scene, and that character will disappear. This way, I make sure that it's 24 frames per second, which is set. I don't know why the import's like that. Maybe there's a setting somewhere. I've not found it. So if you found it, put it in the chat. I never claimed to be a professional. I'm an amateur animator just trying to make a series. An 8-episode series, and this is episode 3 of that. So it's going swimmingly, actually. It's not been going bad. Once you get into kind of like the shot animation stuff like that, it does go pretty good. There, toward the end, it's going to slow down because that's when the frame-by-frame combat scenes begin, action scenes, and I'm going to try to go by my storyboards all out and questioning my sanity at the moment. But it will look cool if I can pull it off, or it's going to look terrible. But you never know until you try. Oh, in my zeal to move on, I forgot that I have. Excuse me. You'll come back up. Yes, I didn't get the smart bot animation, so that's unfortunate. Going to expand back the timeline to there, to 6. Hit save. As SmartBot is selected, let's go ahead and hit export animation. And we're going to go to image sequence. Choose that render folder, and we're going to change this as _ SB for SmartBot. Okay. It has effects as well. Gradients and stuff like that, and then there's the blur that's on the repulsor stream that's keeping it aloft, and an outer glow there too. So it's not doing it, halfway done. But I should also mention that all these scenes have been blank as it hasn't come on into the scene yet. So technically, I wouldn't have had to probably render all these out. I could have probably rendered from 4 to 6 seconds. And it would have been fine, but I did not do that. So did the whole 6 seconds. So there we go. Okay, so he is done rendering. Go back to here. Let's go up to here and let's import our SmartBot SB. Bam. There we go. All right. Interpret that footage to 24 frames per second, and let's put him in the queue. Let's put him on top here, and let's say, before we get too crazy, let's go down to here to layer styles. Let's just grab that, we just need the inner shadow, which will be the highlight edge. Now you can, okay, there are 2 ways of doing this. There's inner shadow and light sweep. Both can be animated to change angles and stuff like that, or flicker. Light sweep has a option which allows you to actually, that the edge color can actually fill into the character itself too. So it's handy too. It's an effect. This is a layer style. You can use both in tandem, as I did, to get the red and blue highlights when the show is going on. Aha! They alternate. So, and here we go. All right, so that's the scene. Do we have the sound in there? Okay, so let's the scamp competition. Add that to render queue, and we're going to go down to render queue. And I'm going to have to move this to get to the actual settings. Apologies, but all I'm just doing is making sure that it's going to end up being in the right folder. That always helps. So shot 138, save, hit render, and off to the races it goes. It doesn't take too awful long. And there we go. Oh. Right, and that shot is rendered. Kapow. Okay, so we need to move on to the next shot. Okay, so we're going to do one or more shot today. Let's go ahead and shut that down. We'll need it. Okay, so what's going on here? Well, don't even have to put the background on this one. So we're going to hit save as, and we're going to go back up to our main layer here where all of our shots are. And this is shot 139. I'm going to save it as such. Okay, well, though I wouldn't have to, I could just deposit it there because the background doesn't mean anything. I'm just for illustrative purposes, I will put the background that I have here in there. Okay, so like so, and now we're going to start putting. Put in our go to the second one. And we're going to put in our audio file, which is our Smart-the-Bot's lines. And it looks like we're going to go to 167 or 7 seconds long. Frame 168 and 7 seconds long. Yeah. Okay, back down to frame 0. And we're going to hit the save button right now. All right, now we're going to go File, and we're going to go to Import, and we are going to import a Moho object. Into the character folders, where they all reside, and we're going to grab the Smart-the-Bot 25, by reference, POW. Okay. How big he is in frame. He is pretty big. Right about to there. Okay, so normally you'd probably just be sitting there, but let's maybe get a little bit more expressive. His mechanical grips. Yes, for hands. Okay, so I was on frame 1. Alright, well, that was terrible. Okay, so always make sure you're on frame 1. It helps. It really does. It really and truly does. Alrighty, so checking storyboard one more time. Looks like we've got some arms in here. Wow, pulse bounding. Okay, let's go back to frame 0 for a second. Let's grab the other 2 characters that are going to be partially in this shot. Of course, is going to be. There we go. Before POW. Okay, so about there. I'm not even going to try to spin around because we just need the edge of his jacket in shot. And let's go ahead and put the other character in here. After hit save, of course. And that character is going to be guarantee. Again, this will be a static shot. There will not probably be a reaction shot on this. But he's going to be that big. He's going to be about that big, and he's going to go right about to there. Right there. Okay. Perfect. Let's drag that over to right there. Bingo. Okay, so there we go. Those are our 2 characters in shot. Let's bring this guy in. Wrong button there. Bring this guy up a little bit more here. Okay, so we're probably not going to put the crowd behind him. Probably not. No. So we're going to have him stay right there. Okay. Put it in a keyframe. Yeah, he's one of those robots. Okay. Take that tilt down. All right, let's see what this sounds like. Terrible. But this... Here you go.
My master, Mr. Small, has heard of your interest in meeting with him.
All right, that's pretty good.
With him, in meeting with him.
There we go. Run through it one more time to see what we got.
My master, Mr. Small, has heard of your interest in meeting with him.
There we go. All right, not bad. Let's get the we'll do the since Indavo and Guarantee are not moving, we're just going to do a preview and save that as a single JPEG. Sorry, or PNG. Alright. I_GT. How? Okay, we're gonna hide them. Boop, boop. And now we're gonna go back, activate our smoother bot. And we're gonna save just to make sure everything's a-okay before we hit the export this animation as a PNG sequences. We're going to go into a choose folder. We're going to make a new folder, and that is where the renders are going to be. Okay. And do we need to put a SB? Well, well, honestly, no, but SB. He could just be the only PNG sequence here, so it technically does not need to have the initials on it, but I tend to do it anyway for formality's sake. I don't know. I have a process. I tend to stick to it. Your mileage may vary. That's the thing about what these art streams are supposed to show. It's supposed to show the process that I use. You may have a better process, or somebody out there may have a much better process. This is the process that I've developed and I'm fairly comfortable with. The animation pipeline is fairly quick. It's not bad. So, and it seems to work pretty good for me. So, I mean, this is what I've done. So, and we're about halfway through with our smaller the bot render. Again, I need to point out that
Mr. Small.
the parallaxing there in the eye assembly is really quite nice. I do enjoy that. To toot my own horn ever so slightly. We're about 3/4 of the way there. Okay. So while that's moving on, let's go ahead and move on to the compositing phase. Get some of the compositing bits together. So I'm going to do file folder, and we are going to call that shot 139. Kapow. And in there, we're going to do another composition, and that composition, once again, is 6 seconds long. It's amazing. Consistency. Wow. Okay, so there we go. And we're going to drop the background. I can find the background. We're going to drive the PNG, the background, and our voiceover into there. Let's grab that background and toss that in there right now. Let's go to here and grab our compositing overlay. And that's now in position. Let's go ahead and add on our Smart Bot speech. Looks like we had 7. I was wrong. That's easy to change. Composition settings. And there we go. Make sure the background is stretched out for the entirety of the composition. And it is. Okay, let's put in our 2 space explorers. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab layer styles here, and we're just going to apply it both to the same one. See, it looks fine. Didn't need 2 separate frames. If there was going to be any sort of movement, yeah, sure. But in this case, that was superfluous. So we're just going to roll that up to there. Hit save, and now the SmartBot animation has finished. Yes, indeed it has. So let's go grab his PNG sequence, and also let's reinterpret that into 24 frames per second. That is done. All right, we're gonna put him right here. Bam. And no, we're gonna put him underneath here. Sorry. See, See, the highlight works, but the gradient doesn't, because there's a light source down here. So we're just going to take that gradient out of there like that. Wow. He's on a big energy pulse thing. Very Iron Man repulsor-ish. Repulsoristically? Whatever. And here, this is what it sounds like.
My master, Mr. Small, has heard of your interest in meeting with him.
Beautiful! Let's add that composition to the render queue. And I have to move it over here real quick. Sorry. Out of the way. And there we go. So that is some animation. Pulse pounding as was, as the SmartBot finally speaks. The first time. Make sure we're in the right file folder. We are. Hit render, and that is off to the races. All right, so that's it. That is the process, how things go in the Indavo animation world. So I think this is a good time to take a pause, and we'll come back. Hopefully, like I said, at the end of this episode, there are quite a bit of a hand-to-hand combat, which will be frame by frame. So that will be some much longer art streams going on when we get to that. So, all right. So everyone, have a great day.